Your team's projects never seem to get finished and their goals keep getting missed. Most founders think this is just a failed project, but the truth is it's a failed system. My name's Scott Barnick. I'm a 2x Inc. 5000 CEO, and I help business owners implement systems into their business. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to make a breakdown structure in project management practical for your business. Let's jump right in. So what does that even mean? A work breakdown structure is really just looking at how a project actually flows through your project management tools. Every time I look into this term, it's very theoretical. So I wanted to come in and actually show you how to implement that into your business today. So I have a screen share down here and we'll quickly go through the theoretical part, but very fast. And I'm going to show you exactly how I implement in my project management. So the first thing here is I focus everything on systems. So when we look at a system, we have basically an order that comes in. We need to do some sort of work. The work has to be delivered, and then we need feedback on the work. That is in a system. Now, project management is built into that system, so we get better and better. Now, if you think about orders, an order can be something internal where it's just a project, but someone is triggering that order. It's someone's idea. They're requesting that to be done. A lot of times it's the founder, the leader, the manager. So they're ordering something from their own team, or it can be an external client. In this case, we're going to focus more on internal projects. And then there are a few things that every project needs. So I do want to just jump into this project management board first so we don't get too theoretical and we can actually show you what things do. When it comes to setting up a project management board, there are a few ways you can do this. You can really set it up for an entire department, or you can set it up for a very large scope project. So if you are a more traditional project manager and you're doing a construction build and you have a CRM, things like that, that's going to probably one board for that individual home or project. Now, if you're a marketing agency or something of that sort, more of an agency, you might have one board for your entire marketing team. And that's where this breakdown structure becomes really, really important. So I set this up more as what I would do with my internal marketing team. What I like to do is phase things either in level of priority or in the steps something's being done. So if we're going to use a CRM, think about in sales, those are usually structured in the steps that the sales process is going. However, if you're looking at a whole bunch of projects at once, so the bird's eye view, and we're trying to build this breakdown structure, you can set up in priorities. So in here, we have basically idea. So any idea. And then what I like to do is, because I have a large team, each team member can have only one P1, which is a top priority one. So I can have this move over to priority one out of ideas, and I'm just assigning it to myself. That's the only top priority project I can have. Then just quickly in this board, I'm going to go through it, and then we'll go back into a theoretical part of it so you can actually understand what this work breakdown structure is. So we have that P1. If it's we allow multiple P2 projects. So I might have 3 P2 projects for myself. So I could have, email marketing, I can have landing page, etc. So we can have multiple products here. Typically, I try to cap that at 2 to 3 at most, because again, these are projects, and the more projects you have, the more spread you are, the less the results you can have. Then I always include something like stuck, just meaning they don't have access to something, they're waiting on someone else, they need another part of a product to be done before they can jump in, they're waiting on someone who's out of town. And then we have approval, which is typically our feedback process. So they'll go to make sure the product's actually done. And I'll show you what I mean with that breakdown structure. And then of course, complete. So let's jump back into this tool and we'll talk about what every single project actually needs. So in here, every project needs an owner. The owner, obviously, if it's an idea, that doesn't need to be assigned to anyone. But as soon as you actually want work to get done, so we're ordering this work. So we have the idea, and then we actually want to order the work. So as we're implementing this, the projects only need a few things. There's really 5 key items that help us build out a project. And then in there, we have our breakdown work structure. So we need an owner, and in an actual project management tool, I'm using Asana, but all tools work. Any project management tool is going to work just fine for you. Notion's another good one. You're going to actually assign this owner. So for this, it's really easy. I'll just click here, add an owner. At the end, I can show you guys how to build out boards or some more basics, but I'm trying to stick them more advanced a little bit on the actual breakdown structure, which is going to be more of the scope and the subtasks. So then we're going to need a due date. So we'll just put this as tomorrow. So then we need order details. I'm going to skip that for a second. We'll have priority and goals. So in here, I have my goal. So let's highlight goal because that's part of one of the key things we need. Now, when I talk about goals in a project, goals aren't just complete a landing page, complete X. You want obviously KPIs and things behind it. Why are we doing this goal? So as part of the Founder Systems AI course and community, it's where I really focus on teaching people how to systemize their business. And part of that is understanding that our goals need to reflect an actual return to the business. So obviously, if we're a marketing agency and we need to do something for a client, or we need to do this internal project where we're focused, for doing that internal project, it needs to either increase revenue, increase lifetime value, recapture time, or reduce risk to the business. If our project doesn't reflect one of those items, it's really not worth doing. So in here, we're going to set a goal of hitting $1 million in new opportunities from email marketing. So that's the goal. So the goal isn't to set up email marketing, it's to get email marketing to work for us. So in there, we have our goal. Now we have subtasks. Now this is really where we start getting down to the work breakdown structure in project management. So it's the order of details, which is going to be our scope, our subtasks, and our milestones throughout. Typically in project management, project is more than just one task, because if it was just one task, probably would just be an email back and forth. Hey, go do this, done. So when you have these larger projects, like the example of setting up email marketing to hit $1 million in revenue, and then of course you're going to have a due date behind that. So obviously I put that as tomorrow. That's going to be ridiculous. But if you did like a year in advance, so let's just do end of year, this starts to become an actual project. And that's really what project management is designed for, is to show us how to create these. So the reason why I like Asana for this type of project is it makes it pretty easy to put in subtasks. Now, the advantage here is this is actually what the work breakdown structure is we're creating the scope in subtasks. So basically the work breakdown structure is a hierarchy where you have your basically main project and your kind of hierarchy goals, and then key things that need to happen to make that. But then inside of each key thing will be like the actual task. So we're just building out this structure of a project, and that's all they mean. So in this project management tool, that's literally what we're going to do here. So we're going to come in and we're going to add subtasks. So I already added the subtask, but to add a subtask, you just come here and you'll type in whatever you need. And that's why I like Asana, is it makes it really easy. Notion, again, is a great tool. It just works a little differently. So in here, I can adjust, I can drag, I can drop, I can move them around. But the key item here is just because someone owns email marketing, so I own email marketing, I could own email marketing as the VP of marketing, as the CEO, as a department chair, but then I can assign subtasks. And this is how we're going to actually break it down. You're never going to do an entire project of this alone, or you shouldn't, unless you're a solo entrepreneur. And even then, you probably still bring in freelancers and support to cut your learning time down and actually get the support you need. So what we do is in each one of these, we set up subtasks. I'm just going to keep assigning these all to me, and a due date. And then in the subtask, you can then get more details. So you're going to re-add in the goals and any additional subtasks that are needed. And so that's how we're really getting this breakdown. So you can see how it funnels as the top goal is email marketing, and it all sits in here. If I jump back in, it gets to email marketing, and each one of these is basically a mini project building to this. So this is how in my businesses we connect our projects all together. Now let's go a little bit deeper in here and look at this. So in here, obviously we'll add our description, we'll add our additional subtasks. So set up email tools. So in here it might list what the tool is, who needs login access, what done looks like, what the goal is. So if the goal is just to have a login, payment credentials, and then give team access. So maybe that had to be an admin to set it up just so they own admin rights. So whatever that looks like, you're getting more detailed into here. Now, one of the big things that is important behind this is the scope. So when we talk about the work breakdown structure, scope is so critical, because if I say I want to make $1 million from email marketing, I could run off on a million tangents. Yes, I understand the leads need to come from email marketing, but then I could say, hey, our show rates, there's just so many directions I could go. I could start working on show rates. I could start training salespeople because I want to get higher conversions. I could start creating new offers. So by setting the scope, you understand when this project is done and what sits inside of this project. It could end up where this project, they complete all of these tasks and we've optimized it, we've been sending, we've increased volume, we've increased quality. That would all sit inside of this. And then it could just say, hey, we're stuck basically until we hit the goal. So in our project management, we can move this over and say, we've started all of this project, we've hit all the deliverables, now we're just sending, now we're doing, maybe what it is every month we're doing an optimization. And so we project that we'll hit goal here, and we leave this as an active project that is kind of understuck, or you could even have an ongoing section where we're just building to that. But the key for project management and these projects is that they are complete once we hit an actual goal that has a meaningful impact to the business. Now, I've seen this happen all the time where people will go through projects like their checklist. They're done, 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 done. I set it up. Setting a tool up doesn't help grow the business. Now, at a high level, that really is everything you need to know about a work breakdown structure and project management. In reality, it gets way more nuanced. And if you want to learn how to do this in your business, first, I have a free download below that walks you through how I set up project management in my Inc. 5000 businesses. And if you want more dedicated support, check out the Founder Systems AI course and community. Thank you.